Brooklyn Park Police are now removing all school resource officers from the city's schools. That decision comes after a fight at Park Center High School on Thursday between two students that injured a staff member. Rusty Ray has more on the incident and the police decision.
Two Park Center senior high school students fought and a staff member got hurt. Police say a school resource officer rushed over from nearby Brooklyn Middle to assist, but the decision to keep all officers out of schools was a foregone conclusion.
The decision was made after this incident, so I suppose you could call it the straw that broke the camel's back. But all the way through the 2 weeks of school that we've now been through, there have been numerous incidents. I've personally talked to several of the SROs who have provided me some insight into what they're dealing with.
At Champlain Park High School, the principal wrote to parents this week that the school will continue to work with Brooklyn Park PD.
School district leaders with both Anoka Hennepin schools and Osseo schools tell me they support a decision by Brooklyn Park PD to reassign the SROs as patrol officers who will be in the area should the schools need to call 911. Are the schools any less safe now that this decision has been made by Brooklyn Park PD?
Well, I think the easy answer is probably yes. You know, we're going to do our best to make sure that we have patrol officers very close to the schools at all times, but they're not going to be there instantaneously, and so I think that I think it'd be unfair to say that they aren't a little less safe.
But officers say confusion remains.
We're not comfortable with all these different conflicting viewpoints of what the law means, like from a practical standpoint. When a police officer is put into a position, what can you do? Our SROs are not comfortable going back to the schools.
In Brooklyn Park, Rusty Ray, CCX News.
The investigation into the incident at Park Center High School remains open as of Friday afternoon. A Maple Grove state senator, meanwhile, is calling for a special session on school resource officers. Senator Warren Limmer says a special session is needed to clarify language on actions SROs can take to break up physical altercations in schools. In a statement to CCX News, Limmer says, quote, "I do not want to be overly dramatic, but without school resource officers in our schools, students are sitting ducks from attacks by fellow students or others entering schools intending harm." DFL House Speaker Melissa Hortman of Brooklyn Park has issued statements saying she is committed to working together on the issue and that it is her hope to get SROs back in schools as soon as possible. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office is raising awareness of fentanyl. It's a dangerous and powerful opioid that authorities say is responsible for nearly one death every day in the county. The county's chief medical examiner says Hennepin County recorded nearly 400 opioid overdose deaths last year, almost all related to fentanyl. In response, the county says it's making investments in community-based interventions that focus on prevention and treatment. The Plymouth Fire Department will have a new fire engine by 2025. The Plymouth City Council approved plans to purchase a $1 million engine this week. City staff say the fire department's primary engine is wearing out faster than expected. That engine is 11 years old. The fire department has seen an increase in calls since switching from a paid-on-call model to a full-time crew in 2018. A new state law allows religious institutions to build tiny homes on their property. Before that law goes into effect, Golden Valley is trying to develop regulations for the homes. The Golden Valley Planning Commission discussed city code requirements and permits for the homes this week. The new state law allows for so-called sacred communities at places of worship. Those communities are made up of tiny homes with winter insulation, electricity, and toilets. They're designed to be transitional housing for the homeless population. Danny and the boys are back on stage in the latest version of Grease the Musical. In today's Weekend Showcase, we catch up with the local actors who are bringing those hot summer nights to the northwest suburbs.
The idea of this is nostalgia, right? It's people reflecting back on high school. These people are a bunch of goofballs. They're kind of misfits. They think they have everything together, but they don't have everything together yet. And I think that is pretty universal with this education system that we have. Like many people, I grew up with the music. I remember being like 6 or 7 and hearing all that music and wanting to jump up and be part of it. Grease has that kind of magnetism about it, right? It draws people in, it makes you want to be part of it. It's just energetic music.
It's the word that you heard. It's got groove, it's got meaning.
You come to Grease and you're like, oh, I know this song, I know this song, I know this song, and it's really fun to sing songs to an audience that knows the songs that are coming. And I think listening to the music in a musical theater space rather than, on a movie recorded and all that stuff, it can bring a different perspective on what you're hearing.
It's exciting to know that people are going to come see the show and look forward to songs that they've grown up listening to or that are nostalgic to them.
Grease is the word, it's the word that you heard. It's got groove, it's got meaning.
When you have live theater, it's not necessarily always going to be the Broadway production or the movie. It's your own thing, right? Your production's own thing, and that's what's really cool about creating theater.
This is the way we are feeling.
I really hope that audiences take away that this is just a fun show. This is a show that anybody can come to and enjoy.
SOAR's version of Grease runs through September 24th at the St. Michael Albertville Middle School West Auditorium.
Robbinsdale District rivals Armstrong and Cooper were each 2-0 heading into their Thursday football meeting. As Jay Wilcox reports, the game was a thriller.
Cooper making the short journey to Armstrong as the Robbinsdale rivals meet in a clash of top 10 teams in Class 5A football. 0-0 late in the second quarter when Armstrong's Dawson Franke finds Kevon Johnson open for the 20-yard touchdown, and the Falcons lead 7-0 at halftime. Early in the second half, the Hawks force a fumble, and Emmanuel Carmo scoops it up and returns it for a score to tie the game at 7-7. It stays that way through regulation, and we go to overtime. After Armstrong scores in the first OT, Cameron Fox lofts it to Carmo as Cooper quickly answers, and it's 14-14. In the second OT, Armstrong blocks a Cooper field goal and then wins it here as Johnson plunges in. Armstrong moves to 3-0 with a hard-fought 20-14 win over Cooper in 2 overtimes. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
The Crimson hosting the Cougars on a beautiful Thursday night for football. On Maple Grove's first offensive series of the night, Chuck Lungama gets the handoff, goes left side, finds a seam, and accelerates to the end zone for a 27-yard touchdown, and it's 7-0 Crimson. Next drive with Henry Stang lined up in the Wildcat. The senior takes the snap, keeps it, and goes. Stang is untouched on this 40-yard scoring run on a night when the Crimson would rush for over 300 yards. Early second quarter, Caden Harney rolls out and throws to Bo Draheim. It's an 11-yard touchdown, and Maple Grove making it look easy and leads 20-0. But the Cougars find their rhythm on offense. Marcus Whiting with a tough run up the middle late in the second quarter goes in for a touchdown. Centennial is down just 20-15 at the half. Third quarter, and the Cougars go ahead for the first time. Quarterback Dalen Cummings fakes the handoff and keeps it, goes in from 3 yards out. 21-20 Centennial after 3. But a big fourth quarter for Maple Grove gets them the win in the end. After a Jack Weigel fumble recovery on a kickoff, Lungama travels 8 yards for a touchdown, and it's 33-21. And the junior running back caps his night with this run, breaking through early contact and then getting loose for a touchdown. Lungama rushes for 227 yards and 4 touchdowns as Maple Grove improves to 2-1 on the season with a 41-28 win. In Maple Grove, John Jacobson, CCX Sports. Wayzata football lost their first 2 games of the season to teams ranked in the top 5 in the state in Class 6A. On Thursday, the Trojans played a third straight top 5 opponent in Shakopee. Jess Moots has the highlights.
Wayzata hasn't started 0-2 since 2020. That's also the last time they faced Shakopee. They lost that game 35-0. On Thursday, the Trojans got an early break. Carter Darrendoll's snap doesn't even get to quarterback Leighton Kern's hands. Number 22, Kyle Boutwell, says, "Thank you very much," and races 85 yards the other way for a scoop and score touchdown. Wayzata up 7-0 midway through the first quarter. Later on, Shakopee's number 22, Jacob Casper, with his own turnover to a touchdown. The junior jumps the wide receiver screen and goes 50 yards to the house for a pick six to tie the game up at 7. Second quarter, Cole Heilbrunn and the Trojan offense answers back at midfield again. This time, the senior launches a 50-yard pass into the arms of Tyler Milkis. Wayzata up 17-7 at the half. Same score in the fourth quarter. Jack Hove gets the Sabres their second interception return back for a touchdown. Later on, with 3 minutes and change left in the fourth, the Sabres finally get their first offensive touchdown and take a 21-17 lead on a 1-yard plunge from Bradley Hansen on fourth down. Wayzata drove down the field quickly, but after a high snap, the Trojans faced 4th and goal from the 16 with 16 seconds left. Heilbrunn rolls left, tosses deep, but the Sabres are all over it. Michael Neighbor secures the 21-17 thriller of a win with the INT in the end zone. In Shakopee, Chaz Moots, CCX Sports.